I want to share something this morning that came up with a good friend of mine, and it focuses around those negative cycles of thinking that we find ourselves in from time to time. All of us have been there, where despite our best efforts, we are sour. We're in a bad headspace. It's difficult to shake. Of course, I've done some past videos on focusing our attention and using that as a way to kind of put our focus where we want it to be, but sometimes that just doesn't work. Sometimes it's really difficult to expel that emotion that hangs over us, that grips our minds, that kind of frustration or anger, or whatever it is that just lives in your body and feels like you can't get rid of it. And one of the things that this friend said to me was that when they find themselves in that place, what they have started doing to good effect is found a way to kind of physically manifest that expulsion and just get the energy out, get that negative energy out. And the way they do this is by shouting Yabadabadoo and that in a very expressive, very explosive sort of way. And I have trouble sharing it without kind of laughing to myself, but I think that's kind of the point. That is the point. It's something that allows your mind to take a sharp left turn away from that negative emotion. It's a palate cleanser for the brain. It kind of stands directly in contrast to whatever is hanging over you with something that is kind of silly and lighthearted, and you can't help but kind of laugh at. I think that this is one example, obviously, of a tool that you can put in your toolkit. But the main point for me, as I listen to him share this, is having a plan for what you're going to do when you find yourself in those situations is really important. It's something that allows you to be active in pulling yourself out. And as you do that, it helps to make those things more automatic. I'm not saying that, he's going to be yabba dabba doing for the rest of his life, but the idea that he has a fallback for when he finds himself in a challenging situation like that means that he's better prepared to notice and intervene when his attention and his headspace is not where he wants it to be. And so whether you yabba dabba do or do something else, another example that I've used from time to time is if I'm feeling kind of stuck. Oftentimes when I'm in a negative headspace, it's like my energy just feels stuck. And I feel like I'm just stuck in this mire and this muck, and it's really hard to get out of. And what I like to do are like made up power poses with like silly faces. So you like stretch your arm out. And it's just a way to kind of refocus our minds to acknowledge the fact that we know we are stuck in this place, but we are working to get out of it, and giving ourselves kind of a really an exorcism of that energy by hitting it with kind of a different explosion of energy, a very physical form of energy. And I think that really can sometimes help to unstick us. So as you kind of sit with whatever you have inside today, think through the tools that you have in your toolkit. Use Yabadabadoo if you want to use it. Use the power poses. It could be some other silly made up word that you have in the back of your mind when you're feeling in that place. It could be something completely different. It could be when you feel yourself stuck uh, in that negative headspace, just like giving yourself a hug, giving yourself a really, really good hug, and like letting yourself know that you are there for yourself and that you love yourself. It could also be in the same sort of way, like just reminding yourself that I'm proud of you, that these negative emotions don't define who you are, and that you can let them go. It could be addressing the negative emotion directly. Get out of here. I don't want you anymore. All of this kind of tees us up to have a number of different interventions when we find ourselves in a negative headspace. And so, with a little pre planning and a little foresight, it becomes easier to employ these techniques when we're actually living them. And I think that all of this work, all of these videos that I've put out, it really is about training ourselves to be ready when we need these interventions. It's building the muscle, as I always like to say, so that as we get more comfortable doing these things, they end up coming automatically. And that's the thing. We are reprogramming, because we all operate automatically in the world right now. It just tends to be that I think many of us, myself included, the critical part of us is the automatic part, the judging part, the part that says it's not good enough, the part that says it should be like this. And this work that we're doing is really meant to make it so that the automatic part of you is the part that leads with compassion. Compassion for yourself, compassion for others, patience, understanding, attention. Those things can come automatically. It's just that we have to put the work in to make it so. It always feels hard at first. And it's not a linear path. But just acknowledge when you're doing it well. Acknowledge when you're not doing it well, but you want to do it better. All of that stuff, checking in with yourself, breaks the cycle of automatic thinking. I thank you for being here. Thank you for your practice. And I'll see you back here next time.